We've got tons of members of the press here as well. We're very excited to make this announcement today. For those that don't know, this is a special Humanity Forward announcement for South Carolina. We're going to let Andrew do the announcement, but before we get to Andrew, our incredible executive director here at Humanity Forward, Zach Graumann, is going to say just a few words about the importance of universal basic income and what that could possibly and potentially mean for us here at Humanity Forward and for South Carolina. Zach, take it away.
Thank you, Conrad. Thank you all for joining. So I was with Andrew when we first started Humanity Forward, and what we wanted to do shortly after the campaign ended was to make sure we realized the vision of that campaign. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to kick this off. And I'm also happy to say that if it weren't for people like Jermaine Johnson, I'd say Jermaine Johnson specifically, there wasn't much of a campaign. So Jermaine and a lot of the people he's brought to the table have been true believers of universal basic income and a lot of the ideas of the campaign. So excited to be here, excited with what we're doing. And without further ado, introduce the man of the hour. Well, maybe two of the men of the hour, but let's say one of the men of the hour, Mr. Andrew Yang. Welcome, bud.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be back in South Carolina, even virtually. I wish it was in real life. But one of the things that should have happened in South Carolina but did not, we're about to make up for. So if you kept up with the campaign or Humanity Forward, you know that we're all about universal basic income and making that happen in real life in people's lives. And the biggest impediment to universal basic income is people not thinking that it's possible. But then when they see it in real life, they think, wow, that is possible. I know it's possible. And we're going to help people in South Carolina see that it's possible for them and everyone in their state and everyone around the country. So I'm very proud to announce today that Humanity Forward will be giving $1,000 a month for an entire year to 2 people in South Carolina. And so if you are watching this or listening to this, that could be you. Because we haven't chosen them yet. We don't know so all you have to do to enter or apply is go to our website, movehumanityforward.com. There's a big button to get. You can also /UBI. That's for South Carolina Universal Basic Income. And then just fill out the application. It's relatively quick and painless. And then we may reach out to you before you know it. People or in your driveway congratulating you. In your driveway. But maybe a neighbor will be congratulating you. You know, it's like that you are going to get $1,000 a month for an entire year, and then you can talk about how it has impacted your life. And I have a feeling that you'll like it. Report liking it to others, and then hopefully we can make this happen for everyone in South Carolina very, very shortly thereafter. So thank you to everyone here for helping support universal basic income. And I think it might be my pleasure to introduce the next speaker, the most handsome guy in any answers, Mr.
Yes. This, ladies and gentlemen, first I have to thank my brother Andrew Yang. I gotta thank him, and I think Andrew knows that he has definitely become more than a friend. He's become a family member. You know, so it's closer than that. You know, we joke and everything like that. Him and Zach, man. I mean, you know, we could joke all day long. I even made a like a group chat between those 2 individuals right there, and just send them anything that I get. So I need to thank those 2 individuals for everything that they have done for us here in South Carolina, for myself and my family. My kids are always asking about y'all, man. They want to know when y'all coming back to South Carolina. They're like, whenever they see y'all on TV, they're like, hey, look, it's Andrew. Is that, you know? So I'm like, man, that's awesome that they actually know who they are. So again, thank you all for what you're doing for the state of South Carolina. This is absolutely monumental for our state, for the individuals in our state. And it's going to at least change the lives of 2 families. I mean, at least. But we know it's going to do much more than that for the communities in which the money will be spent. So we know how, that this is a big thing. And, so I talk a little bit about my background, and I tell people, what I've been through, being homeless and sleeping on people's couches and living in motels, and going through some things. So I know when I was diving into who I was going to support as a presidential candidate, I came across the Asian man running for president that wanted to give everybody $1,000 a month. So when I saw that, I said, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And this $1,000 a month, when I thought about his policies would have completely changed the trajectory of my childhood growing up. It would have kept me out of living in motels. It would have kept me out of being homeless. It would have kept me from being hungry. It would have kept, a lot of the tragedies that happened in my life. And we know a lot of the things that happened in my life were with gangs and violence and substance abuse in my family. So, his presidency with Andrew Yang would have changed everything. So I'm just so appreciative of everything that he's doing to completely forward this movement. He didn't disappear after the campaign ended. He stuck around, and he has actually put his money literally where his mouth is. And we can't say that for everybody. So we're so appreciative of everything that he's doing for us. So, most people know that I'm a candidate for South Carolina House of Representatives, the District 80, the 80th district. And I would like to see things like this, implemented across the entire state, but ultimately I want to bring resources to my district. My district is rural, but when you have rural communities, sometimes the resources don't ever make it down there. We're lacking broadband access. We're lacking a lot of things. So when we have a community such as Eastover, South Carolina, where the median household income is $15,000 a year, and there's 54% of the individuals in that community living in poverty. When you have Hopkins, where people are living, 17% of those people are living in poverty. When you have these things like, and the situation is probably going to continue, because right now we're sitting at below a 30% census response rate. So we're sitting at that type of situation. We need to figure out, ways to get resources to our communities. And right now, I'm all in for a fight to get resources to the community. So you couple this information that we have going on with the fact that we have COVID-19 going on right now. And with COVID-19 going on right now, you have 36 million people who are unemployed and filing for benefits. So you have that on top of the statistics that you already have going on in my community. So, if you have that, we've got a serious problem on our hands that needs to be addressed. I'm sorry that Andrew had to be right at this moment. We didn't think that the things were going to happen, for some years. But the fact is, he is right. And we are doing some things to actually fix this situation. So this UBI policy will undoubtedly change communities right now, because the money is going to be spent. So we know that most Americans right now cannot afford an unexpected $400 bill. So because we know that, I figured that today would be the best time to roll out a policy that I want to implement for the state of South Carolina. And it is also called the Palmetto Dividend Fund, or PDF for short. So you like that, a PDF. So it's called the Palmetto Dividend Fund, the PDF for short. So this is a policy that will ultimately give all South Carolinians a $400 a year stipend to pay for that unexpected $400 bill that they can't afford. This will be the first of its kind in the United States, and it is something that we can definitely afford. So if you want to know more about that, you can just go to johnsonforsc.com, and you'll be able to read about how we're going to pay for it and how we're going to implement that here in South Carolina. You'll get it started at the age of 18, and it'll go all the way until, I'm going to use Andrew's words, till you expire. So, it's there, and we're going to do some great things to make sure that we're moving South Carolina forward, because I know this will assist people. So I am going to tell you that as of today, all 50 states, including Puerto Rico, have contributed to our campaign. All 50 states, including Puerto Rico. Yes, we are excited about that. So when I tell people America supports District 80, South Carolina. America supports South Carolina. America supports South Carolina District 80. So right now, the people of my community can actually go anywhere in the United States and Puerto Rico and find at least one person that knows about their community and supports them in their community. That is an amazing thing to be able to do. And I'm just extremely ecstatic about what we have going for us here and how we're going to move our state forward with all the things that myself and Representative J.A. Moore are going to work for when we get to the State House. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce somebody who has been a fighter alongside myself. He's been fighting to eliminate food insecurities in our state. He's been putting his money where his mouth is as well, and you can see him everywhere. He has been a supporter of mine for a long time, and I can't wait to get to the State House to fight alongside this gentleman here. So without further ado, I want to present Representative J.A. Moore.
Hey, everybody. Let me make sure. Okay. Yeah, y'all can hear me, right? Hey, everybody. I first just want to thank everybody for being on this call. Andrew, I definitely want to thank you for your leadership during the presidential campaign, but before you decided to run for president and afterwards. And in honor of you today, I did not put on a tie. But in all seriousness, I mean, you know, I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine before jumping on the Zoom call, and he asked me how did I feel about universal basic income, and I said, listen, you know, what I support now more than ever, what this pandemic has taught us here in South Carolina specifically, is that there is a need for working people to have some type of support from government. And furthermore, not just working folks, but middle class South Carolinians. And I decided to be supportive of this because I've seen it firsthand. You know, my business, I'm in the food service hospitality industry, and my industry has been devastated by this COVID-19 crisis. I mean, I'll give you some staggering statistics for South Carolina. Unemployment as of April was over 12% here in South Carolina. You know, places that's been hit the hardest is Myrtle Beach, and Beaufort, and Charleston County. Myrtle Beach has a 33% jobless rate right now. Beaufort and Hilton has like 17%. Charleston, North Charleston have about 13%. And as of last night around 7 o'clock, there was reported about almost 10,000 cases, like 9,300 cases of COVID and over 400 deaths. So, I mean, this has been really, really devastating for South Carolina. You know, one of the things that I've been advocating for is we need to stimulate the economy. We need to bring resources directly in the hands of working people. And I think, Jermaine, what you're doing, what you're proposing, the Palmetto Dividend Fund, I love that. I think we need it in South Carolina. We need it in South Carolina. We need it now more than ever. We need to be able to expand Medicare here in South Carolina as well. And so, Andrew, I just want to thank you just for being on the cutting edge of this and for your organization's commitment to people. I mean, I know people that have already received money directly from your organization, money in their hands here in South Carolina. So you're not a politician where you're just talking to hear yourself talk. You actually put in the work, and I'm just grateful for you, man. Seriously, this whole campaign season has been very interesting. We've seen so many different folks come out, and I've had the pleasure of meeting most of those of you that were running for president, and I'm just grateful. I can't say I'm grateful. Your seriousness and your sense of humor and everything else, brother. So hashtag Yang Gang, man. I'm with y'all 100%. I just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. And I see that my dear friend and my brother and a servant leader and soon to be best-selling author. I got to get his book, but man, I think me and him right now have a competition who can grow the biggest beard in Afro. And I think he's kind of winning that right now. But my dear friend, Bakari Sellers, I just want to toss it to you, brother.
Well, thank you so much to my brothers who are joining me, to my colleague Andrew Yang, bringing the Yang Gang to South Carolina. It's impressive. I went to a Yang event in Charleston, South Carolina, just one running for president. We were at a brewery not far from the Post and Courier, and I was a little awestruck by the diversity that was present, and it was good to see. I value his friendship on the campaign trail. And I'm thankful that he's supporting Jermaine Johnson. J.A., the things you're doing are amazing for your community. Your leadership during the coronavirus period in time is just why I came down there and supported you in the first place, because I knew you were going to do good work, and you've exceeded even my highest expectations for you. I see we got a bunch of media in here, I guess. It's like this is a big group of people. Let me say this. When I was 20 years old, I came downstairs. I had just graduated from Morehouse College. I was preparing to go into my first year of law school at the University of South Carolina. We were in Denmark, and I told my mom and dad I was going to run for the South Carolina State House of Representatives. So my mom said she'd vote for me. My dad said he'd think about it. So I went out and knocked on over 2,600 doors, went over 55 churches. On June 13th, I beat Representative Thomas Rhode, who's been in office for 24 years, which is longer than I've been born. Before that, he was chairman of the county council. Before he was chair of the county council, he delivered the mail, and before he delivered the mail, he delivered the milk. And I say that to say that I didn't have a lot of support from people in the House Democratic Caucus. I had Todd Rutherford and Leon Howard were the only two people who supported me in that race. It was an uphill battle, but I knocked on every single door. I went to every single voter. I met people where they were. And I came to the conclusion that in South Carolina, it didn't matter if you were black or white, young or old, who you voted for president at that particular time. But we had many of the same issues. Whether or not our grandmothers were going to have to choose between paying their prescription drugs or paying their utility bills. Our kids go to school where their heating and air don't work, where their infrastructure is falling apart. Our teachers are overworked and underpaid. People don't have access to quality care. People, especially down there where you're trying to represent, Jermaine, they live in food deserts where they can't go 2 miles and have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. And now you have the overlay of a pandemic. And so it's time for new leadership. And I'm pleased to support and endorse you. And people say, why are you going down there and supporting that boy? We should just wait. And I said, you know how many people told me to just wait? There wouldn't be a Bakari Sellers if I did not ask the very, very simple questions that Jermaine is asking now, which are, if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? And so I say, don't wait your turn. You're not a leader of the future, Jermaine. You're a leader of right now. And our state needs you, because I say that it's not about what this state was or what it is. It's about what the state can be. I'm happy to write you a check. Just cash the check before the 1st, because the way my savings and checking set up with my student loans, just trust me, just cash it a little bit later. But I'm happy to endorse you with a check for myself and my wife. I'm even happier to do anything I can do to get you elected in June. And so I know this is a difficult time to campaign, but run through the tape, and I will sit around here for a few more minutes before I feed my twins, if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, everyone. I want to be very, very clear here. What Humanity Forward is doing here in South Carolina, thanks to advocates like Jermaine and Bakari and Rep Moore, is something that we're going to be doing across the country, from state to state to state to state. But it's because of advocates like Jermaine and Bakari and Rep Moore that we can do this in South Carolina. So we're very, very excited about this announcement. If any members of the press that are watching today have any questions for us, feel free to send them to press@movehumanityforward.com, and we'll get you a timely response ASAP. But with that being said, Andrew, do you have any closing remarks for us on behalf of Humanity Forward?
Well, I loved Bakari's story about his run, and it really does give you a sense of optimism and possibility in the future. Jermaine gives me the same sense, and I believe that universal basic income can give many, many more South Carolinians and Americans a sense that we can do anything, and that it's harder to feel that way if you have this constant dread and existential pressure that too many Americans have right now about being able to put food on the table, be able to keep a roof over their head. So if we can give people that ease, take the boot off of their throats, then more people will be able to take on the challenges in South Carolina and around the country the way Jermaine, Bakari, and JA are doing and have done. So thank you all for being such incredible champions for progress in your community and a better way of life. It's a privilege for me to be able to help in some way. And I can't wait to see who gets the money, because then we can have a whole nother round of like smiles and stories, and those stories will be ongoing. The same thing I saw in New Hampshire and Iowa is that it doesn't seem real, but then when you see like your neighbor or someone you know in your community all of a sudden getting this money, you're like, wait a minute, what? And then all of the concerns seem ridiculous, because you know that your neighbor's personality is not going to be changed by it. you know they're going to do, they're going to do positive things with it. And Americans are smart enough to look up and say, we're at this point bailing out major corporations to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. It's time to put the same level of resources and commitment to work for ourselves, our families, and our communities. So thank you everyone for being here. Excited to see who gets that money in South Carolina, and we'll be back in no time.
Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for everything. Thank y'all so much. And we are going to continue to work to make South Carolina a better place.
Thanks, everyone. And make sure, if you're applying, you live in South Carolina, go to movehumanityforward.com/SC-UBI. And for the press, all of this will also be posted online to Humanity Forward's pages as soon as we can get it up there. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Also, buy Bakari's book.
Yeah.
Do that too.
Yeah, buy Bakari's book so he can put it in his Twitter bio.
Thank you. I'll see you on TV soon, Andrew.
Love you guys. Love you, Jermaine.
Up, man.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Happy Memorial Day weekend. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, peace, y'all.
What's up, guys? Make sure you guys donate to Johnson for South Carolina State House 80th District. You can go to JOHNOSON4SC.com. And we're going to be back live at 9 p.m. Eastern time with Mark Clock. Hope you guys enjoyed this little live stream, and see you guys later.